Alright, putting a video out there on YouTube for this lathe. I couldn't really find a video on it. I don't know if there's one out there or not, but this is the WEN wood lathe 12 by 18 variable speed. And that's the 34018. And we're going to open this thing up and see what comes inside. And I'm going to give a little unboxing of this lathe. Can't really give it a full review until I use it for a while, but we'll get her opened up and we'll go ahead and turn something on it tonight. I think I'm going to turn a little mini bat for somebody. Got some white ash. I got a little round blanket that I made. And turn that on there. But let's get this thing opened up. See what we got. Alright, so got the manual. Lots of styrofoam. Gotta love the styrofoam. I still don't know what to do with this stuff. When I get it in the mail, I can use the boxes and everything, but the styrofoam is about worthless. Anyways, I'm not gonna fight with this. We're just gonna open the box up. That way I can just lay it right out. Alright. Scoot it back. Luckily I got a big bench to do this on. Set on there, it's 80 pounds for a shipping weight. Okay, it comes with this little thing you attach on the back and hold your tools and stuff like that. I already got a stand I made from my previous lathe, and I like the design, so I'm just going to stick with it. Second piece of styrofoam. We'll get this off the cardboard, get the cardboard out of the way. Grab there. Be careful when you grab this end. There's a piece of plastic there. You'll end up breaking it. One with this lathe because it's variable speed. If you're going to be new into the world of turning, I learned real quick, like within the first, 4 months, variable speed is going to help. Big time. Because when you get a bigger piece, I turn a lot of firewood and stuff like that, and it's always out around. And if you can't control that speed right off the bat, when it goes to take off and you don't have a set speed on it, like these other lathes, you can set it down to the lowest speed you want. It's still going to shake all over the place. This one you can actually turn down as far as the lathe will go. And you can just work on roughing at that point. So we'll get this wired out. I'm going to be a little bit quicker than a lot of other videos that you see. I know that you're clicking on it because you want to see what the lathe's about. So I'm going to show you what it's about. Okay. Just turn it down. Alright. See that knob right there? That controls. That holds your tool rest down. So the trick of this, a lot of people say, oh, it gets in the way. I don't get it. It pulls out. You tighten it down, and then you pull it out, and you can rotate the handle without loosening this. And then you can just tighten that down, loosen it. And this, of course, works really well. It's all covered in shipping oil and stuff like that. I'm not gonna clean it tonight. I'm not really worried about it. I got some wax over there. I'll just come down with some rubbing alcohol, clean it, and wax the bed like it needs to be done. So let's dig into it here. You got the RPM reader up here. That's going to tell you how fast your spindle's turning. Alright. This knob right here, that controls it. Of course, it's got a safety thing. Pull this yellow thing out. You got kids around, you don't want it, they're in your shop, you don't want them accidentally kicking it on. It won't turn on without that in. See? Open up the first bag here. Okay, so we got our knockout bar. Goes into the tailstock on this end. It sticks out. tailstock. Oh yeah, there it is right there. See? So you take your live center out like this. You put it in, and that's in, right? This tightens. This little knob back here tightens it to where you can't move your tailstock. You can't advance it at all. But this bar right here, push in the back, a little tap, and that's out. Same thing with your spur drive. Spur drive goes on the headstock. Of course, I'm going to take this faceplate off. But it goes on the headstock. The same deal. You reach through here, there's a hole, pop it out. It's really easy to have it like that. You don't want to be messing with threaded ones and all that. Being a beginner, you're just going to frustrate yourself. Okay, so looks like the handle, the back of here. I'm going to strip it out right off the bat. That would not be a good deal. I think I got it started now. Yeah, it turns in there quite hard. Once you get started, don't thread in, I guess. There we go. It's in there. And that advances your tailstock forward for like drilling and stuff like that. There's no measurements up top, which I thought it did, but it doesn't. Grab tape. It advances 2 1/4 inches from the cast iron of the tailstock to fully out. 2 1/4 inches. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this faceplate off because I've got chucks and everything else. Once in a while I'll use a faceplate, but normally I use just my chuck. Looks like it's only got one wrench. I don't like sticking bars in there. I'll show you how this is supposed to be done. You can see that. Let me see. Alright, sorry about that, folks. My wife had to come and check it out, my wife and my son. Anyway, let's get on with this. The way they want you to do this is that, see that hole right there? I don't know if you can see that or not. You stick it in there, and then you put this wrench they sent with it in there. And you don't want to, oh, that one was loose. Usually they're so tight, and if they do tighten up like that, I gotta kind of crank it down a little bit. If they do tighten up, you just set it like that, and you keep pressure down on it, and then you just take your hand and you pop it. Just pop. And it'll loosen up way easier than trying to pry on it and then bashing your elbow off the floor. Ask me how I know that. Anyway, there's the faceplate. Looks like a 3-inch faceplate. Got 4 screws, and you screw that to a flat piece of the wood, and that's what holds the workpiece for you, so you can kind of get it round. And sometimes it comes in handy. Most of the time, you can get away with just using a chuck. But yeah, it's a 3-inch, 3 1/8 really. But so that's the faceplate that comes with it. I'm gonna go hang it over here with all my other adapters, and we're gonna put the live center in on the tailstock, dry spur in. Let's see where this little nifty, handy dandy tool rest holder thing goes. This is all loosened up. Let's see what setting it's on. I want it to be right in the middle, just to kind of get a feel for it. I'll be able to turn a little bit better and know which way to go once I start using it. Okay, it's in the middle setting. And the belt tension, it came with the belt tension loose. That's way too loose. You don't want that. That's going to end up messing stuff up. So I don't need to move it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this thing back on. We're going to flip it around to the other side, on the actual side of it, and we'll check out that side, make sure it's on the right pulley and everything, because you never know if it was made on a Friday night. People are thinking about going out drinking instead of making a lathe. I know it's a real thing with cars anyway. Oh yeah, we're going to put this on real quick. Let me see. It's just a dust cover, just to keep all the wood out. I'm gonna end up taking these feet off too, because I'm gonna be mounting it. I don't believe in just setting it on there and letting it go. I have a problem with that, you know, because you got a piece of wood turning it God knows how fast, you know, and if that sucker falls off your stand, it's not going to be a pretty deal. Oh yeah. Alright, so this one's, okay, yeah, it's on the middle. Alright, sweet. So we'll put this cover back on real quick, and I'll show you how to tighten that belt up. Actually, we'll leave that right off so I can tighten it. Like I said, I've been turning a long time, but oh, that's nice too. The Harbor Freight one, it's got this, you have to use the Allen key and everything else. This has actually got a handle. Same deal as up here. You pull it out and it'll turn the handle for you so that it's not in the way or anything. And like that. Yeah, see, when it's tight, it'll be up and out of the way. So you just loosen that, and then just pull down on the motor a little bit. Feel the belt, reach in there and feel that belt. Just make sure it's got some tension to it, you know. Ain't gonna let it move about 3/8 to 1/2 inch. We'll call it that. And all you do is tighten that down. Tightens down good. Just put this guy back in here. Yeah, I tried going cheap. I bought one of them Harbor Freight lathes, and then I got to researching about, hey, what would happen if I wanted to make it a variable speed? You don't even want to go down that aisle. It's going to be a big headache. Okay, that's where that goes. Bigger Allen key goes there. Little Allen key goes there. There's 2 little holes in there. They all match the size of the Allen wrench. So, and of course, I got one for the live center and spur drive. But like I said, I'm not going to be keeping that there, and then the wrench just drops in there. So, now that we have this all the way I want it, I'm going to tip it up. I'm going to take these feet off, because I'm going to mount it to my stand. And it looks like they just unscrew right off of there. And all I'm going to do is I'm taking some hardened steel screws that I got. I'm going to run them right through the top, right into my stand. And that'll mount it right to it. You don't have any problems with it. And it does have overload protection if it does pop a breaker or something on the lathe. Everything else is working on your breaker, and all of a sudden this isn't. Press that little button right there and it'll reset it, kind of like the power bars. Alright, so now we got the feet off of it. Oh, details. This is a Morse taper, 2nd generation, MT2. That's what these are, the tailstock and the headstock. So that's what these little taper guys are. You noticed, I don't know how new my viewers are going to be to this or not, but you look at tapers. And the 1st generation, I'm not sure exactly how it was different. I'm guessing it was a different size than these. But with this lathe, you're going to want to order everything MT2. Like this guy here. Let's see if we can get it on camera. Like that guy there, that's a drill bit, Morse taper 2, you know, and it's just like a chuck on a regular drill, and this is how you hollow out vessels and stuff like that. You get dead center. You use Forstner bits and stuff like that to knock the hole in it first, and then get in there with your tools. So, but I'm just going to be turning spindle tonight. I won't be doing anything fancy. That feels pretty smooth, the tool rest. Tool rest, I looked up the specs on that. This is a 1-inch tool rest. A lot of people complain about not being able to find them, but they sell them. It's just 2-piece sets. You got to buy the piece that goes in there, and then they got a bolt that holds this end down. And they're higher end pieces. I'm not going to really change it from here. This thing will do just fine for me unless it breaks or something, which I'm highly doubting that that's going to break. Alright, so, I'll knock this back out. Alright, so, for this end, these threads, that's where your chuck's gonna screw on, or any other type of tool that you got. Just screws on right there, like that. And this is a 1 inch by 8 TPI, 8 threads per inch. That's the size of it. If you can remember them numbers, just write down 1 inch by 8 TPI on your piece of paper. And that'll be all the accessories you can use on this. So for all the accessories, you're gonna look for the 1 inch by 8 TPI. And then for your other pieces, like a wider live center, or that drill bit I was showing you there, stuff like that, that's gonna be the MT2. So that's the two things you're gonna wanna know for this lathe. And that's another reason why I bought it. It's because a lot of the stuff that's made nowadays is made with them sizes, so you can get the most popular stuff from it, you know. All right, so I think I got it all together for the most part. And what we're gonna do now is I'll shut the camera off and I'll switch it, and we'll be over here on my stand after I attach it. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I got it mounted, got the screws in. It's pretty sturdy, a lot sturdier than what it would be. I think I'm gonna run one more board across the front just to kind of sturdy it up just a wee bit more, but at least I know it's not coming off of that stand. So basically you want to prep yourself for a piece of wood for your first piece of wood you're going to put on there. You get a square, you put X's on each side from corner to corner, and then you take a drill bit and you drill a hole in it. And just be careful how deep you drill, because if you drill too deep, it'll show up on your piece after you turn it. You don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this on first. We'll give it a run through, and then I'll get my mask on and we'll start turning this a little bit. See if I can make a bat out of it. This is the mask. You're going to want to use something like this, you know, something that's going to be able to take a hit. And you also want the filter, because when you're sanding or turning, it releases stuff from the wood that's not really good for you. And every good wood turner will tell you that you need to protect yourself from it. Another thing, people have turning smocks and stuff like that. Well, it's winter time right now, so I have this coat. Zips all the way up right to there, and the mask comes down to here. So it covers everything. If you don't do that, you'll get stuff all down your shirt and stuff, and that's not pleasant, trust me. You'll get a bunch of it. So let's fire this up real quick. And okay, that's all the way down. RPMs clicked on. Okay, so on the mid belt arrangement, you're at 1,000 RPMs turned all the way down. That's going to be roughing. I mean, it's even just a wee bit too fast for this for my taste, but I'll run it anyway. But if you're going to be turning bigger products and stuff like that, you're going to want to step the belt down to the slowest speed. And the speed settings are right up here. They got a little diagram for it and everything. But let's turn it up. There's 12. I don't know how loud it's showing up in the video, but it's just a whisper here. Trust me, it is. If for some reason these things are showing up as really loud over people's videos, and they're not that loud at all. Alright, there's 18, 2,000, 2,500, and that's about where it caps out with that belt arrangement right in the middle. I can get faster speeds out of it, or I can get slower speeds out of it if I change that belt to a different pulley. So you just gotta mess with it a little bit and get used to it. This is gonna be my first variable speed lathe I'm ever playing with, so this would be interesting. But I'm gonna turn that knob just a little bit. That way it's out of my way. I don't want it right there. Okay. Just like that. Yep. Perfect. That way it's out of the way of the swing of that. And this, if you tighten it that way, it's gonna be in your way. I always tighten it towards down, out of the way, because you're gonna be in here. That's what this groove's for. Is to hold your tool. See how your finger fits in there all nice like? Now if you're doing something that's real crazy and you need to get the big boys involved, like these carbide tipped ones, I made this one myself. It's out of ash. Daddy green, it's pretty cool. It's got the flat, this one's got the flat bevel on it. So that's going to be for making things flat all the way across, or there's a lot of different things you can do with this. You just got to YouTube it and then you got to play with it. But see, you'd set your hand up there. But if you got a big piece and you're not wanting to get your hand up underneath that lip, you can always reach around and just grab it like that. Just make sure that your knuckle right here is tucked into that so that you can hold it steady. And with this tool, the carbide tipped ones, you want to go level. If you go with a regular one, like this is a high-speed steel bowl gouge, Robert Sorby. If you go with a traditional tool, you're going to want to not hold it straight like that. You're going to want to actually angle it down a little bit because you're cutting. This is scraping, this is cutting. So it's two different ways to do it. Well, let's turn this on and we'll get to work on that piece of wood. I'll show you how to mount it up real quick. Let me get my tailstock out of the way here. And my tool rest. Alright, so back this all the way out. I hope this is. Yeah, it is. Okay. So you just take that hole. See that spur right there? You got all these little feet to grab a hold, but that spur has to go in that hole. So just make sure you have that in there. And then you same thing for your live center. You take the spur and you put it in the hole. You want to make sure there's good contact in between the wood and that live center. That way you're good. So you lock the tailstock down, crank her, and you don't really reef on her much. You just get it to where it's going to be tight and it ain't going to come loose. And you're going to want to double check that throughout the process of turning just to make sure it's not loosening up on you. Alright, so there's this lever back here. Let's see if I can flip it around for you. Right there. That runs a screw into this and it stops this from advancing and moving at all, so it won't move on you. That's the whole purpose of that. So you crank her down, lock her in, get your tool rest. You always want to set your height. With a lot of the tools that I'm using, you always want to set your height just below dead center of these two. Oh, you know what? I forgot something really important. Let me undo this really quick. I forgot to check to make sure that everything's tuned in. So you just slide it forward. I'm sure you've seen this on YouTube tons of times, but yeah, we're perfect. Up top and side, we're good. Alright, let's throw that back in the hole. See that ring? That's the ring from this, that live center. That's what keeps your workpiece stable. That's very important that you get good connection right there. If you're not getting that ring when you're pressing it, you need to either drill your hole out more or do something different, because you need that contact there to make sure that it's going to be able to turn and be stable. Because you don't want anything to be unstable.
Please charge. What if it's showing is battery?
Sorry about my cheap little speaker. Got that on. Anyway, lock that down. Make sure that's loose. Tighten her down just where you get some good traction. Lock her back in. Now we go ahead and move our tool rest just below the center. So we'll roll with that. Alright, so that's the lock position. That should be good right there. I tightened it just a little bit more than I had it before, so it kind of messed up my alignment on that little knobber. There, now I want to tighten it, it's right there. Okay, so you slide this in just as close as you can get it. Oh, hear that? You don't want that, you want to back it up just a little bit. You want it to be as close as possible to that though, believe it or not. And you just crank that down. And you kick it on, all the way on low. There she goes. So I'm gonna put my mask on real quick. So we'll go ahead and I won't talk. I'll just I'll put it in text what I'm doing. That way you can see it and I don't have to talk. the best, but it's just gonna be a gift to my buddy. So he's just gonna throw it in his truck anyway, and it'll get all beat up. So it's made out of white ash. This is white ash. I don't know if you could tell or not, but this is the same stuff that real bats are made of. So I figured I'd make little ones, you know. I made one for myself, and he said, "Hey, you mind making me one?" I was like, "Yeah." So I figured I'd put that on there because it's a really easy item to make, you know. But I like the lathe. It's for what you pay for it. There's a lot of goodies that they don't tell you about when you search for the one on Harbor Freight, you know. And you're gonna want to stick with a name brand. I know there's a couple online that are like this and they're cheaper. Don't get it because there's going to be issues. I've had so many issues with stuff coming from China that the parts are all metric. There's no standardized. Like the headstock, you know, it's just a nightmare. Don't even do it. Start your way with a WEN first, and then work your way up from there. I eventually want to get a Grizzly or a Jet, depends on which way the business decides to go for me. But this is what I'm going to start with. And by the way, there's a bed extension you can buy for this. It's about $100, and it goes from 18 inches from center to center all the way out to 40 inches. So if you want to turn like table legs or real baseball bats, you know, get that, and you'll be able to turn longer items. I plan on getting mine, and I might even do an unboxing for that when I get it, but that's not going to be anytime soon. I'm going to turn a bunch of stuff on here. So, but there you go. There's the WEN. What's the model number again? 34018 is that one. That's a 12-inch swing, so you're gonna be able to have a 12-inch chunk to be able to spin this way, you know, and then 18 inches this way. So it's a good little lathe so far, but like I said, time will tell. Anyway, thanks again for watching my video, and hopefully I can help you out. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below. And as always, just have fun with it. You know, don't get too stressed out about it. Just try to have fun with it. And accidents are going to happen, stuff's going to blow apart, but that's all part of the learning curve. It all happens. It happens to everybody, even the pros. So I'm no pro. I've just started this like 6 months ago. I've turned numerous things, you know, nothing crazy. So, but again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you when I get that bed. Alrighty, have a good one. Bye.